Yes, Taylor Swift agreed to be deposed by Brian Friedman.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Tashti Flo, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. Okay, I don't know where to start, you guys, because I'm so excited that I can't hide it. So Justin Baldoni's team just filed this random letter to the judge asking for some delays. It's been a lot of back and forth the last couple of days, last couple of weeks. Blake Lively's team is complaining to the judge that they haven't seen these signal messages that they think is going to involve some kind of bombshell or some kind of evidence. And they're complaining to the judge that they haven't been able to see them yet. And Baldoni's team is saying that we are willing to give it to you, but it takes a while to retrieve these messages because they don't really exist because they use this instant delete function on the Signal app. Anyways, so here's the point. In this letter, at the bottom of this letter, Brian Friedman just randomly puts in this information. Finally, Ms. Lively will have Ms. Sarowitz responsive, not privileged signal messages by September 12th, which is today. They're also talking about the deposition dates for Justin Baldoni, which is, I think, September 21st and September 22nd. And Blake Lively's team wants to see all these messages before they're subpoenaing everyone, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, let's get to the point. So finally, it says here at the end, Ms. Lively misleading implies the Wayfair parties seek a blanket 30-day extension of the discovery cutoff date. In fact, the Wayfair parties request an agreement solely to take the deposition of Taylor Swift on the week of October 20th to 25th due to Ms. Swift's pre-existing professional obligations. Whether the court agrees to the broader modification sought by plaintiff, the Wayfair parties respectfully request that the court modify the scheduling order for the sole purpose of accommodating third-party witness Taylor Swift, who has agreed to appear for deposition but is unable to do so before October 20th, 2025. Yes, Taylor Swift agreed to be deposed by Brian Friedman. She is sitting down for an on-camera interview to talk about her relationship with Blake Lively and probably about the text messages that Blake Lively sent to her when she was trying to blackmail her because she wanted her to support her in public, and Taylor Swift refused to do that. Also, according to what leaked to the media back in May, Taylor Swift had been asked by Blake Lively to delete text messages between them. That's basically evidence tampering, which is very serious. And if Taylor Swift are going to share these things under that deposition under oath, and she is Justin Baldoni's witness, this is major, you guys. So all of this information came to light back in May of this year when Baldoni's team agreed to drop the subpoena against Taylor Swift. In that subpoena, they were looking for information how Taylor Swift was actually involved in the production and everything with It Ends With Us. Now, that's not really their goal here. Their goal here is to get the information out of Taylor Swift that was leaked to the media, apparently by Taylor Swift's dad back in May, that Blake Lively had been blackmailing and threatening her friend Taylor Swift to support her. It's so funny to look back now, the reaction of Blake Lively's team when that subpoena was dropped. They were like, the Baldoni and Wayfair team has tried to put Taylor Swift, a woman who has been an inspiration for tens of millions across the globe, at the center of this case since day one, Lively spokesperson said. Forced with having to justify themselves in federal court, they folded. At some point, they will run out of distractions from the actual claims of SH and retaliation they are facing. That's what they said to Variety back in May. Guess what? Taylor Swift agreed to do this. She didn't even fight the deposition. She said, yes, I'll do it. And that says a lot. A spokesperson for Swift said back then that this is just tabloid clickbait, and Taylor Swift never set foot on the set of this movie. She was not involved in any casting or creative decisions, blah, blah, blah. She said that basically Taylor Swift wasn't involved, which I believe that. I think that Blake Lively made it up that she was so involved in this movie, and she actually wasn't. She just gave them this song, and Blake Lively used her name as her dragon to get more publicity for the movie. And Taylor Swift had enough, and now she's willing to tell the truth. I mean, you guys, this is so exciting. I just love that Taylor's cooperation here is just tearing everything apart for Blake Lively's team, because they were saying like, oh, they're abusing her, they're abusing the court system by dragging her into them to this, and they're using her name to get more attention. And now Taylor Swift is doing it with her own free will. So here is the $1 million question. Has Baldoni's team, the Wayfair parties, Brian Friedman seen the text messages between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift? A while back, the judge agreed that they should have access to those text messages. So I'm very curious to know if they've already seen them, or if Blake Lively hasn't handed them over yet, because that's Blake Lively's responsibility. She's supposed to hand over those text messages. If she has, we don't know if she gave them everything. And now that Taylor Swift is going to be deposed, she will probably share everything with Brian Friedman. She doesn't want to lie under oath here. So then that will actually tell if Blake Lively gave them everything or not. And she was never expecting Taylor Swift to be deposed. So she thought probably like, okay, whatever I give them, that's up to me. I don't have to share everything. They're never going to find out because they're never going to have access to Taylor Swift's phone. I think if Baldoni's team has seen the text, they're just sitting on this bombshell and they're going to use it in court. They're not going to leak it to TMZ or People Magazine. They're going to use this ammunition against Blake Lively at the right time. I feel it's been so quiet from them lately, and I feel like that's because they're sitting on this major evidence that's about to come out. Whatever happens in this deposition, it looks terrible for Blake Lively, because she is doing this for Justin Baldoni. She is not being deposed by Blake Lively's team. She's not a witness for Blake Lively. She's a witness for Justin Baldoni. She has nothing to tell Blake Lively's team. If she did, they would have deposed her and she would have supported Blake Lively's story and she would have been a witness for Blake Lively. She's not. So the next major question here is, you guys, will her deposition be leaked? Before I get into that, I wanted to thank the sponsor of this video, Delete Me. Seriously, in the middle of all these subpoenas flying around from Blake Lively's camp and people being doxxed in the legal docket every single day, it's terrifying to know how much personal information is out there just waiting to be exploited by dishonest people and businesses. Delete Me are the leading experts in removing personal data from hundreds of data broker and people search sites, the kind of sites that list your home address, your personal phone number, and even your relatives. And that information can be sold to anyone with a credit card. When I checked the report they did on me, I was in shock by how many of these sites had my information. Delete Me has been doing this for over 15 years, and they use their own tech, not some third party. And real privacy advisors are there if you need custom help. I love that I can just log into the dashboard and see the data they found and removed from me. The peace of mind from that is priceless. So if you care about your privacy as much as I do, you need this. Get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/flaw, my last name, and use promo code FLAW, FLAA, at checkout, or you can just scan this QR code. That's joindeleteme.com/FLAA, code FLAW. Trust me, protecting your privacy online is your best investment. All right, so let's get back to the big question here. Will Taylor Swift's deposition be leaked? The answer is yes and no. The thing is, these depositions, they start privately. They're in a room. She's being interviewed in front of a camera. They're recording everything. And then Justin Baldoni's team owns this deposition. And they can use parts of this deposition to prove their points. Just as we've seen with Blake Lively's deposition, parts of it has been leaked in other filings in the docket. And I think that's definitely what we're going to see with Taylor Swift's Deposition. We are going to see little snippets being leaked and being put in these legal letters, and everyone's going to be like, oh, that's what I'm hoping, anyways. And also, you guys, if this goes to trial, which I don't think anymore, I feel like Blake Lively has zero evidence and she's trying so hard. As I talked about earlier this week, you know, the secret witness that she has, which all points to her. Maybe there's a slim chance that it might be Ryan Reynolds, but she has nothing. And now Taylor Swift, the biggest pop star in the world, is going to tell on her. It's over, Blake Lively. I wonder how Blake Lively's team is going to spin this. They can't go against Taylor Swift because she has so many fans, and this story is going to get so much attention out there. I'm also curious about all these pro Blake Lively media outlets that have been covering everything, just so biased towards her and Ryan. How are they going to deal with this? And here's a funny story, you guys. Someone sent me this. Thank you so much. It says Blake Lively's next career gig is likely inspired by her courtroom drama, says sources. And they're speculating here that she is going to study law to become a lawyer. It says she might go in the footsteps of Kim Kardashian. Rob Shooter, this guy who has all this inside information, who I have been reporting on many times before, he's being quoted in media outlets all the time. He said that he exclusively learned that Blake Lively could be planning on embarking on a new career path. I think that's a good idea for Blake. I think she should definitely leave Hollywood now. After this deposition that I just spoke about with Taylor Swift, I don't think there's much hope for Blake Lively in this industry anymore. Anyways, it said she might be swapping her glamorous life for a legal one as a lawyer. A source, a close friend of the star, revealed that she has been hooked on a recent trial. This is so funny. Would anyone I'm sorry. Would anyone hire Blake Lively as their lawyer? And he continues here saying the actor is reportedly seriously considering practicing law as a profession. Lively has allegedly been glued to every second and is completely fascinated by the lawyer's strategy. Moreover, she wishes to be the one standing up in court. I mean, she's fascinated by the lawyer's strategy, the lawyers that keeps lying for her, the lawyers that put their reputation at risk because they're supporting her absurd narrative in this story. Another insider here alleges that her husband, Ryan Reynolds, initially thought she was joking, but she's serious. They revealed that Lively has already started looking at LSAT prep as strategists further imagine her walking into a courtroom claiming that every camera in the world would be present there to capture the moment. The report suggested that the rumored career switch to Blake Lively was possibly inspired by her own legal battle with Justin Baldoni. Best of luck for Blake Lively in the courtroom. We will see how she's doing as a witness first. If this ever goes to trial, as I said, we will see her on that stand and see how she's doing there. Anyways, there's also this super cringe story about Ryan Reynolds out there now. So, you know, he was in Toronto at the film festival promoting John Candy, the documentary that he produced. And now he's taking the documentary on a tour. And you won't believe how he is promoting this tour. An evening with Ryan Reynolds and friends. As you see, this is all about Ryan Reynolds. His photo is even bigger than John Candy's photo. Can you believe this? He's touring this everywhere. So he's presenting the movie, and then there's probably a Q&A or something like that afterwards. And the tickets, you won't believe it, it's between $76 and $112. He is really monetizing on this project, and he's making it all about Ryan Reynolds. This feels like he's using John Candy to rebrand himself because everyone loves John Candy. He was such a beloved actor. His family was even so involved in this project. Can you imagine for John Candy's family that Ryan Reynolds is just taking over the show and taking it on the road? And it's all about an evening with Ryan Reynolds and friends. and then it's a movie about John Candy. Ryan has shifted the focus from John Candy, a universally beloved comedian, to a controversially disliked celebrity trying to rehabilitate his reputation. Right up Ryan Reynolds' alley. By the way, since he's received so much backlash from Toronto, there was this story about how he was so rude to this kid reporter. And on top of that, there were speculations that there was a feud between him and Eugene Levy on the red carpet, and it got so many headlines everywhere, and it spun completely out of control. And what does Ryan Reynolds do? He creates some new headlines about how amazing he is. Stories like this. Moment of class. Ryan Reynolds hailed for what he did after Wrexham suffered embarrassing defeat in front of David Beckham and Will Ferrell. Ryan Reynolds' class behavior after seeing Wrexham suffer an astonishing defeat in front of David Beckham and Will Ferrell has been saluted. I didn't bother to read these articles. I just feel like I don't need to. But this is so Ryan Reynolds playbook. So now he's planting this story about himself being such a nice class act. No. Anyways, I was scrolling through Instagram yesterday and this video popped up with Amanda Seyfried. As I said before, I really like Amanda Seyfried. I think she's such a good example of a woman who's so down to earth. She's so likable. She's just there's no fuzz about her. She's just like a real human being that's really nice and sound empathetic. And she's a really great actress. She was asked on the red carpet what it was like for her to skip Botox for 1 year. She's in this movie called The Testament of Anne Lee, who's directed by Mona Fastvold, who is a Norwegian director who was nominated for an Oscar last year for The Brutalist. She did the script for that movie. And Mona said that this is an 18th century story, and I don't want the actresses to wear makeup or have Botox. And I was thinking, yes, finally, because I don't believe these history dramas with all these women who can't move their faces. I hate that all these women in Hollywood feel the pressure that they have to put so many fillers and Botox and so much Botox in their faces that we can't recognize them anymore. They all look the same. They all have the same lips, forehead. They don't move. We can't see any emotions in their faces. They make their movies unbelievable. The characters are unbelievable. And I hate it. And I'm sorry that they feel that they have to do this to stay relevant in Hollywood, but it's just not very good for an actor to not be able to move their face. I feel, as I said before, I feel like every woman should do what they feel the need to do to feel that they're the best version of themselves and whatever makes you happy. But I think as an actress, it just takes away your credibility. I was looking at photos of Emily Blunt recently. She was this beautiful English rose, and she's a great actress. And now she looks like this. And I'm like, no, I didn't recognize her at first. And all these latest photos of Anne Hathaway, of all these other actresses who, I mean, Nicole Kidman, obviously, Sofia Vergara, they all look the same. They all go to the same doctor. And when we see them on screen, I remember this kiss between Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron in this movie. I just could not stop laughing and I couldn't watch it. It was just so cringe. And I was like, no, their lips were everything in their face was just so stiff. And I saw some video online the other day where someone was talking about this and said that the directors now even have to work around this because actors can't show emotions with their face anymore, with their eyes. There's all these little micro things in the face that makes us relate, that triggers emotions in us. And when we see an actor on screen that doesn't have any of that, we go what am I supposed to feel now? Is she crying? Is she angry? Is she happy? It's really hard to tell. So they had to add even more music. They have to edit it differently to work around the fact that these actresses can't show emotions anymore. Anyways, back to Amanda Seyfried on the red carpet. I also love that she admits that she loves Botox. She's not hiding it, pretending yeah, I don't get wrinkles.
Makeup and no Botox. I got Botox for this festival to talk to people like you.
I'm due for my next.
So it's a sacrifice, girl.
I know. No, it's funny. I'm an actor, and that's my job, and that's what I love to do. So it's I don't necessarily need all that in my life.
Really like that she was so honest about it, and I applaud Mona, my fellow Norwegian, who actually wanted to make this look authentic, because no one really had Botox and fillers back in the 18th century. I did read a little bit about the movie. It's called The Testament of Anne Lee, as I said, and she was the founder of Shaker religious movement in the 18th century. From my understanding, is very raw and very real. And as I said, I love Amanda Seyfried, and I think Mona is an amazing director. So I'm super excited for this movie. Anyways, that's it from me on a Friday, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks for all the tips you've been sending me. Let me know what you think in the comment section about Taylor Swift's being deposed. And also comment, share, like, subscribe if you haven't, hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Flawsome Talk, and I'll see you in my next one.
Yeah, we
Bye.